I'd like to welcome everyone to the October school board meeting, and we will begin the meeting off with a pledge of allegiance.
So if we could have Ms. Harrison come up, and she has some guests that are going to lead us tonight in the with the pledge.
There you go.
If you'll, can you speak into the mic so people online can hear?
Good evening. I'm Jeannie Harrison. I'm the teacher at the high school for our SLE classroom. And we have Liza and Blue and Bradley. I think we had Adrian, and then we have a few others that have come to help us out with the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right.
Okay. All of you, come on.
I pledge. Right, good job.
Thank you. Did it.
Thank you all for coming and doing that.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right, celebrations.
Thank you.
All right. I think first up this evening for celebrations, we have Mr. Schoonover, where he's going to talk about our employees of the month.
All right. Just like I talked about last board meeting, you know, I get in HR, we get to, sometimes we do some things that we get to celebrate people. And that's probably the best part of this job right here. And us starting the employee of the month, it's really, I'm gonna have to open up for you guys sometimes so you can see the number of comments that are coming in from. It's not just the two that were selected this week. Just like I said last time, and it even grew at a much larger rate after people get used to the process and what we're doing and what we're trying to do as far as celebrate people that are doing a great job for the district. People are across the board, every building, every department having a lot of things to say, a lot of great things to say about each other. And it's creating a unity as far as you can tell. It's nice when people say things about you. It's nice when your coworkers say things about you. It's nice when kids say things about you. And that's what's happening here, and people from the community as well. We even had opened up, as we said last time, from the community. But today's an easy one to talk about. If Miss Ann Smythe would come up front. There she is. Come on up front. Miss Smythe, I'll tell you, I mean, I've been here for a year and a half now, and I can tell you, just from a personal standpoint, I knew the first time that I walked into high school, when you see special, you know what special is, and that's Miss Smythe. There's no doubt about that. But before we talk about Miss Smythe and what she's done for this district and what she's done, why she was selected as our classified employee, we also want to give her a hand because Miss Smythe she's put her time in, and she's earned the opportunity in December. She's decided in December that she's going to retire, and I'd like everybody to give her a round of applause because she's earned that. We're happy for her. If we could take a mold of Ann and use it. I've really never been to a district where really everywhere you go, the front office is special, and it really is in our district. It doesn't matter if it's a department or a building, but Ann sets the tone of that. And if you could take a mold of Ann in the future of the people that we hire for that position, we'd want it to be Ann Smythe. But here's the first thing that's said about Ann. She sets the tone when you walk in the door at the high school. And that really is, I know everybody here has walked in the high school and they feel that. And she sets the tone by having a servant's heart. She sets the tone in how she simply just talks to people. Her smile and kindness lights up the room. She treats everyone with respect and want to serve them. This includes parents, teachers, and students. I don't think we could ask for any more from an employee than what Ann's done for our district and just the mission. I know that she has also a personal mission in life that I greatly respect. And she carries that out on her work mission as well. So, Ann, I can't thank you enough. Thank you. Have a great day. Now you going back over to volleyball?
I'm going back to keep score.
Yeah, see, that's who she
Okay,
is. She's
still
keeping score at the
volleyball.
volleyball game. And as you all know, we got a dang good volleyball team, so I'm sure she wants to get back over there and see them. All right, moving on over to the certified side, we're going to talk about another gentleman, just like Ann. We've got another man here that is pretty dang special, and that's Coach Moses. If Coach Moses will come on up. Coach Moses, as we know, soccer matters in Siloam Springs, and the fact that it does matter, you better hire a good soccer coach, and we've got one right here. And he's a guy that coaches both our girls and our boys. Not only does a good job of that, but he does a good job at the school. And he loves kids. He carries himself. You never see Coach Moses carry himself any other way than a positive way. And I find opportunities in my job to run in guys like him. I'll see him over the hallway, and I just enjoy talking to him because I know that when you're around Coach Moses, he's gonna make you feel better. If you're having a rough day today, if today's a hard day, Coach Moses is gonna get it right because he's just gonna approach it that, hey, I'm here, I want to be here, it's a great place, and he just spreads that energy with everyone that he's around. But here's some things that are said about Coach Moses. Always does what is asked to him at a high level. That's from a standpoint of someone that HR focused on people as far as work. I know for Mr. Patrick as far as the superintendent and Dr. Miller as far as his principal, that right there is at the top of the list. Not only does he do what he's asked, but he does it at a high level, and he does it every single day because that's just how he carries himself. Cares about kids. Better not be in this business if you don't. He's a great coach and even a better person.
Oh.
Coach Mo is loved by his teams. And I don't think, as a former coach, I can tell you right now, I don't think that, I think that is the biggest compliment. Adults can say what they want to say about you. Kids they know the truth. There is no show that kids don't oversee. Coach Mo's not a show. He's real. And his kids love him, both girls and boys. He motivates them. He holds them accountable, but he loves them and they love him. So I can't thank him enough. Thank you, Coach Mo, for what you do.
That's two high quality people right there. One longtime employee, one that's newer to our district here in the last several years. But both high quality people, certainly pleased to, and we are a blessed community to have them a part of our school district. So next up, I think we have Ms. Rhonda Bryant is going to come forward and talk about what has happened at the middle school here recently. And she has some people going to help her out.
I'll go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hey, my name is Titus Benson. I'm the Unified Partner.
My name's Quentin Spurberg, and I do bowling.
My name is Brewster Gomez. I play soccer.
Lily what?
Lily James.
Lily James.
And I'm Megan Sullivan.
And I'm Rhonda Bryant. I'm the District Special Olympics sponsor. I'm excited to share that our district is now considered a Special Olympics Unified Champion District, with all 7 campuses committing to being Unified Champion schools. But the main reason I'm here today is to share that the Siloam Springs Middle School has been recognized as a National Unified Banner School through Special Olympics. They met 10 national standards of excellence and proved sustainability of those standards. Siloam Springs Middle School is only one of 3 schools in the state of Arkansas that were selected in the class of 2025. This makes 2 National Unified Banner Schools in our district in the last 2 years, with Southside Elementary earning that honor last year. And only 0.6% of schools in the United States ever achieved this status. And we have 2 right here in Siloam.
Nice.
So through unified sports, leadership opportunities, and whole school engagement, our students have created an environment where everyone, regardless of abilities, is valued and has a place to belong. This vision of inclusion would not be possible without the genuine support and buy-in from our administration. So I want to recognize and commend our great staff, especially Megan Sullivan. She works tirelessly to lead the charge at the middle school and through Unified Special Olympics. She meets with those kids every single Friday, and they always have something pertinent to do to promote that inclusion. These are some great, remarkable students. They are a very dedicated and proactive team of leaders. Some of them have gone on to the high school this year, so I have high hopes for our high school program this year. And I'm excited to see what they accomplish.
As a Unified partner, I'd like to say thank you for your continued support of Special Olympics and Unified Champion Schools, and for helping promote a district-wide culture of inclusion that benefits all students with and without disabilities. And I'd just like to say it's been a blast getting to hang out with these fun kids and go compete and go win. And it's just super fun, and I love the opportunity to go and just compete with other schools and put Siloam on the map.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bryant. It's really remarkable when you think about how many schools in the nation have this honor, and there's not very many, and we have 2 right here, and I would expect several more to come in the next year or 2. That's the plan.
That's a great plan. Wow.
All right, at this time, Coach Turner, we'll put you on the spot. If you want to come up and introduce our sports teams, I think starting with tennis, and turn it over to their coaches.
I'm Justin Turner, the athletic director for the district. Super excited to introduce 2 different groups tonight. The first one just wrapped up their season. Our golf team is here with Coach Blackwell. Coach Blackwell?
I think we're going tennis first.
Are we going tennis?
Tennis first.
Okay. They're going to state next week. Tennis is. They just had a great conference tournament. We'll get EG, come on up.
Okay, good evening. My name is Emily Grace Jerry, and I am the head tennis and softball coach here. I'm very excited to recognize the great tennis program and limitless season we had this year at Siloam Springs. I would first like to thank and recognize our volunteer assistant coach, Kelly Junkerman. This is his 6th year for volunteering with the program. I'm thankful for all the work and countless hours he puts into helping the program and athletes be the best they can be. We currently have 26 student athletes in our high school tennis program. 7 of those athletes are here with me tonight. Senior Haley Janes. Haley competed in girls singles this season and made it to the quarterfinals of the conference tournament. Seniors Emma Fiddler and Madeline Farr. After finishing last season 1 match short of qualifying for the state tournament, they set a goal to qualify their senior season and did just that. They finished the regular conference season 11-3 in girls doubles and finished in 3rd place at the conference tournament, earning their spot at the state tournament. Junior Preston Dawes and freshman Leo Hernandez. This is their first season to be boys doubles partners and finished the conference regular season 13-1. They finished 3rd in the conference tournament and will compete next week at the state tournament. Seniors Eli Mann and Bennett Nostvik, they finished the regular season conference for boys doubles 14-0 for the 2nd season in a row. They finished 2nd in the conference tournament, making this the 3rd season in a row they have earned a spot in the state tournament. Since they started playing doubles together their sophomore year, they have an overall record of 39-3. I am proud of not only the athletes here with us tonight, but all the athletes in our program. Their effort and hard work this season has been limitless. Having 6 of our 12 varsity players qualify for the state tournament is a great accomplishment we are very proud of. We are looking forward to competing at the state tournament in Searcy on Monday and appreciate all of your support. Go Panthers.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, if we can have the athletes stand up too, please. Athletes, if y'all stand up and let the board see you guys, y'all are a wonderful group. We're certainly proud and good luck.
Okay, our next group is golf, who just finished up their season. Coach Blackwell.
Hello, thanks for having us. My name is Brady Blackwell. I'm the head golf coach. This year we had 17 student athletes on the golf team. So we've got some of the ones that participated in the conference tournament, which was in Alma, that came here tonight. So if y'all could stand up real quick. So we've got 2 9th graders, so Ryder Turner, Carson Thomas. We've got 2 10th graders, Peter Bellamy, Ryan Vachon, and then our 2 seniors. If y'all could stay standing too, we got AJ Moore and Kinley Moore. So I'll just highlight them really quickly. From a conference tournament perspective, we had the 2 Moores qualified to represent us at the state tournament. So this was their 2nd year to do that. So they got, and y'all can sit down, but yeah, we had 2 people represent us there. So Kinley got to go play in Jonesboro, and then AJ got to go play in Pine Bluff. So we're super happy that we had that representation there. They qualified individually. And okay, so them overall, those 2 individuals, they finished top 25 for the state. And then from a team perspective, we had some really great growth. 17 is a really big roster, and so super proud of that. Also, we're really proud of our golf course. It was recently renovated, and we were able to host 2 tournaments this year. We had a conference opponent come and play us, so Van Buren came up and played. So we're really proud of that, and to have that here is really nice. So if you don't know, we play at Siloam Springs Golf Club, just right across the street. And the course is back, it's looking great, and so we're glad to go out there and practice and everything. If y'all know any kids that are interested in golf, Brian, as you know, it's good to get them started early. So as soon as they can hold a golf club, try to send them over there and let us know. And when they are going into their 9th grade year, they can come start practicing with us in May. And then anybody on our roster gets to go play there for free. So thank you guys so much for everything you do. We're glad we were able to come here and, help us continue to grow our program. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So athletes, I think if you will go outside over there with Dr. McClung, he wants to get your picture, official picture. So if you can do that. Absolutely.
It's awesome. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So I think it's important.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
All right. So Dr. Miller, you want to come up now?
Do you want me to wait until they're out? Or?
Tonight, I am very excited to present to you Mr. Evan Armstrong, Senior, who has become a semifinalist in the National Merit Scholarship Program for 2026. There are actually more than 16,000 semifinalists nationwide. Names are published actually in this book. Did you know this, that your name's in this book? Look, I'm going to show him. Look, I have it marked. It says Siloam Springs High School. And there is his name. So this book comes to all high schools in the nation, and his name is under our school right there. So that's a pretty big honor. He is one of many talented high school seniors who have an opportunity to continue in the competition for National Merit Scholarship. And those scholarships are worth $26 million offered in the spring. To be considered, semifinalists must fulfill several requirements to advance to the finalist level of the competition, and about 95% of semifinalists are expected to attain finalist standing, and approximately half of the finalists will win a National Merit Scholarship, earning the Merit Scholar title. And I asked him the other day, have you started the application process? Yes, he has. So we're hopeful that he's going to be one of those Merit Scholars. The nationwide pool of semifinalists, representing less than 1% of high school seniors, includes the highest scoring entrants on the PSAT test in each state. And we are about to give that test again on October 22nd to all of our sophomores and some juniors. And so that's how he scored and became a semifinalist. And the number of semifinalists in a state is proportional to the state's percentage of the national total of graduating seniors. So the 2026 National Merit Scholarship winners will be announced beginning in April. Hopefully we will be back to present him as a National Merit Scholar. So I present to you Mr. Evan Armstrong. We're very proud of you.
Good job, Evan.
Okay. I'm going to let him have the book.
Congratulations. Awesome.
Congratulations, Evan.
Yes.
Good job, Evan. That's awesome.
I'll say one more thing on celebrations before we move on. We got to visit the intermediate school today. Had a good lunch and visit there. And on our lunch tables, the students had left us notes. And we were looking through them, and two of them really stuck out to us, so we want to read them tonight. We want to say thanks to Miss Yoakum and the kiddos at the intermediate school. This one says, thank you for working so hard on trying to be so good at being there for kids at a lot of schools, and I want to say thank you. That was the one. This one was my personal favorite. Thank you for keeping our school fun and that it does not shut down. Thank you for your effort on keeping our school clean. Thank you for being kind to us. You are the best school board people ever. So I wanted to read those and tell Ms. Yoakum again, thank you. We had a good time today. Thank you. Awesome celebrations tonight. It was good to see. Good to see. All right, Dr. McClung, do we have any comments from patrons?
No, we do not.
All right. We will move on to reports. Mr. Patrick.
Yes, I think the first thing I wanted to talk a little bit about is, as all of you know, last month at the board meeting, we presented on the possible plan to move to neighborhood schools and transition away from our current configuration. And I kind of wanted to give an update to everybody of what's happened since then. There's been quite a bit take place, and this is a really big opportunity for our district, and so I want to talk about a few of those things. Since that time, we have, Ms. Carter and I have met with 4 of our faculty and staff at 4 of our schools. The last 2 we're going to go to next Wednesday. We've met with them they're taking some little time out of their Wednesday meetings and met with them to answer questions, explain things, get feedback. I've been super impressed with our staffs. They've asked really good questions, and it just shows me the heart for kids and the children of our district that our staff have, because a lot of their questions are about how is this going to affect students and the positivity behind that, and it's been really good. We've also held parent meetings at the secondary parent-teacher conferences, and we will again do that at the elementary parent-teacher conferences. So those are coming up, and we're getting some good feedback from there too. Once again, parents that we visited with have asked super good questions, and we tend to get a lot of really good feedback. Last night, Ms. King and I met with our PTO group and answered questions from them for probably an hour and a half. We just had a lot of conversation. I thought it was really good. And And I want to make sure that everybody understands that the feedback that we're getting, we truly value. And we've had some people bring up some stuff that we haven't thought about that has really helped tweak it in a positive way, that our thought process and our plan. So it's truly important that our community, our parents, and our staff really give us this feedback. Some things that have happened to this point, our elementary administrators have visited 2 schools in Rogers that have this current configuration of, or the configuration we're talking about moving to, that K-5 configuration, to get ideas on scheduling and how they do specials and all the different things that go into making an elementary school run. And they've gone and talked to people who are actually doing it. And on Monday, we're going to go to Springdale and we're going to talk to 2 more schools and to get some more information on that. We are in the process of developing a teacher placement committee, for the lack of a better title of that. I've asked our principals to come up with 1 teacher from each grade level to come together and work with us on, if this continues to move forward like we're talking about, how are we going to place our teachers in the district? How are we going to move people around? What is the criteria and how that's going to work? So we're getting that group together. We're preparing a survey that'll go out next Wednesday or Thursday morning after we meet with high school and middle school in Main Street. It's more for our staff to tell us what's important about teacher placement to them, so that we want to really individualize things for our teachers. We want to be able to tell every teacher that we heard what was important to them as an individual, and we did our very best to try to provide them something that was important to them, whether it was stay in their grade, stay in their building, stay with their team, stay in their subject area. So those are things that I think are super important, and we want to be able to let our staff know that we care about them and what we're doing. And we know this is going to be a difficult transition, and we want to make it as smooth as possible as we can. Then also, we've been working on and preparing for facility changes. There are a few minor things that will need to change. There's some bathroom toilets that might need to be changed out, fairly insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Randall's crew can do that. But really and truly, because our buildings were originally built for these similar configurations, we don't have a ton of issues of things we need to do. But there are a few little things, and Randall and his team are going through and checking and making sure those are easily done and all. So that's where we're at to this point. I know later in the board meeting, we're going to have a little discussion on this, but I do want to report to the board that overwhelmingly the response from people has been to this point. That's not 100%. I don't want, because I've had people ask me or talk to me and give me feedback that they don't want to change what we're doing. But overwhelmingly, 95+% of the people that we've had conversation with think this is a positive move for the district. And I don't think even the people that don't want to do it, they won't say that it's bad for kids to do it. It just changing what we're doing. They don't like change is a lot of that. So it's not that I think this, nobody can argue that it's the right thing to do. I think the thing that's going to make this work is how we go about doing it. And are we transparent? Do we talk to our people? Do we take their feedback in and try to use it to create a really solid system to how to make this transition for the district? But we still have a lot of work to do. We're not done yet. We've got a lot of tasks that need to be done. We got a lot of investigation. But I'm really pleased with where we're at this point. And we just have a lot more work to do. And then I know we'll discuss this a little later. The next thing I wanted to report on is we have our October 1st numbers in. One of the big numbers that we look at every year as it relates to because it relates to funding, directly to funding for our school district, is our free and reduced lunch count. So it has historically been difficult to get people to fill out that free and reduced lunch form, especially coming out of the pandemic when there were 2 years where nobody had to fill one out. It just, everybody got to eat free. So it was hard to get that going back. But our team did a really good job this year. So we had 80% of our students in our district fill out an application this year. That's the most we've ever had. What that translates to is 3,446 students had an application in. Only 835 of our students did not fill out an application. And what that turned into was 70.7% of our district qualified for free and reduced lunch this year.
Say it again, what?
70.7%. That's the first time our school district has been over 70% in the free and reduced lunch category. And how that affects our funding for the district is we have one of our categorical fundings that we have is our Every Student Achieve funding. It's a state allocation that we get called, we normally call it ESA money. It does have some boundaries on what you can spend that money on, but the things that our district spends it on is our nurses, our SROs. We do some instructional coaches, I think, out of that. We interventionists and several things. Well, our allocation this year was $1.4 million, which is about what we thought it would be based off last year's numbers. And the way it works is if your district is below 70%, you get $513 for every student who qualifies for free and reduced lunch. If your district is 70% or more, you get $1,026 per student. And so what that means for us going into next year is that means instead of the $1.4 million we have in this current school year, we will have $3.1 million next year of ESA money. So, and that's a windfall. That sounds like a windfall for the district, and it is, but what it's going to really help us do, it's going to offset the money that I'd reported to the board that we lost through our federal funding because of the poor census turnout that we had, where we lost over $400,000, almost $500,000 total. And that's going to be for the next 10 years. So this is going to help offset that and overcome it. And then we've lost some enrollment, so that money would go down a little bit. So this is going to help us offset that so that we can continue to provide programming and all the nurses, the SROs, and all those other things that money pays for. We'll be able to do that plus more moving into next year. So I wanted to make sure that the district knew that. I'm really proud of the staff. This was a team effort to get people to fill the forms out. Everybody from building leaders to our food service department to district. You know, I will really talk about Josh and Michelle. Josh and Michelle have a lot of relationships because of their years in buildings in this district. And they got on the phone and they really worked hard for about 2 weeks at the end to try to get us over that hump. And so they were a big part of that, as well as everybody else that worked hard. So
thank you all.
That
Huge.
yeah, it's a big deal. I'm proud of our people, and I'm glad that our district can recoup some of that money. So, Mr. President, that is my report.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you to everyone as well. Appreciate that. All right. Miss Amy Carter. Mr. Josh Killian.
All right, yeah. Other duties assigned. I told Mr. Patrick I wasn't going to do a joke when I got up here, and I can't not do it. But yeah, no, it was all the team. Crystal Wheat, Joanna and her team. It was fantastic. So So we're here to give kind of an overview and a data report on our ESOL program. So ESOL is English for Speakers of Other Languages. We do this report once a year. We kind of talk about the program and what we're trying to do to help support students, as well as kind of where we're heading. So before we kind of dive into what we do, I want to give you a background on how a kid qualifies as an ESL student. So a home language survey goes home with each kid on each year of enrollment. Now, most of the time we're looking at new students to our district. And so that home language survey asks a lot of various questions. What language do your parents speak in home to each other? What language does your parents speak to you? What language do you speak in home? So if that language is anything other than English on that survey, the state identifies them as an ESL student. So from there, what we do is we screen. So we use an atlas, we call it an ELPA screener, and it's just something that is very basic depending on the grade level, but gets more complex as the older the child is. And it identifies if they have a learning gap because of language acquisition. Because you'll notice, like our community, we're fairly split, with Caucasian, Hispanic, and then we have a lot of other cultures. Not every kid that speaks another language is an ESL student. If a kid passes the screener, then they go into something called monitoring, where we watch them for 4 years, making sure that they don't need supports later on. Same with the kid at the end of the school year that takes the ELPA 21 assessment. If they're able to pass that, then they go into that monitoring status where we watch them. So it can be a foreign exchange student. It can be split families, maybe families of different cultures. And if that language is spoken and the parent identifies it on that home language survey, the state recognizes them as an ESL student that may need support. Doesn't mean they'll be in the program and being served, but it just helps us kind of track them and make sure that we're doing what we can. So what do? We help with language acquisition, right? But it's not just our ESL team, it's all teachers. So I'm very proud of the district this year. We had several teachers that attended our ESL academies with the state that were grant funded because it's just good teaching, right? Like a lot of times when you go to these trainings, you realize that it doesn't have anything to do with like someone that's another language. A lot of times it's things that I can do for anyone in my class. And so the way we kind of curb our trajectory of supporting our ESL students is not just with the team of ESL teachers. It has to be all the teachers within the school. Because some kids aren't pulled out when they're served. Some kids don't get to have that one everyday interaction with the ESL teacher, especially when you get to the secondary. You talk about, 1,200 plus students. There's no way that two individuals that work tirelessly can serve all those kids, right? It's got to be the ownership of the teams. So we support them in various ways in their instruction. We also use Propio. We talked about it a little bit last year when we had some new languages to our district that we weren't familiar with, and we didn't have the resources to communicate to families. So Propio we use for typically anyone that's not Spanish speaking. So it can be our Kinyarwandan family, it can be our Marshallese family. And so that's a call or a Zoom service that helps us communicate. We figured out really quickly last year that we needed something when we had new to country students that did not speak Spanish, so something we weren't familiar with, and there was a medical need, child's in a nurse. And it's like, oh boy, what do we do? Who can we call? So I want to show you the numbers comparing last year to this year. You can see that we are down almost 100 students that we currently serve. So why is that? Probably a complex answer. Our teachers are working really hard, and so we're exiting more at a rapid pace. I think the potential for neighborhood schools only probably increases that likelihood as well, especially in that middle school age. It's a very challenging age with our ESL students. Also, too, we don't have the influx maybe that we had a few years ago of new to country students. We have a lot of second and third generation families, especially when you're talking about kindergarten and first grade. Kids that I taught are now having children. And so maybe their parents do speak another language at home, but they also speak English very fluently, and that helps. Also, too, you're gracious enough to allow us to have another ESL teacher at intermediate for this school year, and that's been huge because some of those middle level grades are just so large, it's really difficult to serve all those students. So L's by school, this changes every single day. Every single day I'm coding kids in eSchool. You know, we have move-ins, we have move-outs, but you can see the younger the student is, the more likely they are to be identified as an ESL student. If we probably gave a ELPA screener to the entire kindergarten body, regardless of if they speak another language at home, they're going to flag, right? They're learning school. We do it based on the home language survey, but you can see, so you identify a lot early on, and then the hope is that as they get older, they grow and move out of the program, that those scaffolds or resources, help those students be able to move on. We also have the 325 students that are currently in that monitoring status, means they achieved what they wanted, and then we're just going to watch them for a couple of years to make sure there's not a slip in their data. Also want to point out, this is complex and this literally changes every day as well, but these are our top 4 languages that are spoken at home. Now, whether that means that the parent's communicating to the child in that language or whether that language just exists at the house, those are our biggest ones. Obviously, Spanish is our largest. Our Hmong population has been very steady for several years. Marshallese, we've actually seen a slight decrease. I expected, that number would continue to grow, and it's really kind of held steadfast within our school. And then our Vietnamese. But you can see we have a lot of other languages. French Creole, Haitian Creole is another one. Kinyarwandan, which was new to all of us last year. And then just several others that kind of stand out. So achievement. Our ESL team is fantastic, but I think we grow daily, especially from like me last year, not really necessarily knowing how to support and what role I would provide in being at central office as the ESOL director. But I will tell you this, we have made several changes this year with the addition at intermediate of a staff member. We have a new ESOL teacher at kindergarten as well. In high school, we've seen a huge shift. We have one teacher, they do a lot of co-teaching together because some students take an ESL English class that counts as an English credit, but they are constantly supporting other teachers. I've heard tons of feedback from the math department, from science department, of those 2 individuals coming in, helping support those students, helping support those teachers. And not just with a newcomer, because that's challenging, but just any student. And so they have done a fantastic job. So I'm really excited to see, maybe I'm blissfully hopeful at what next year's scores look like. Because right now, I would say that we're doing great things, but we're kind of average. Like we're not the very top tier, but we're nowhere close to being bottom either. Our areas for growth, as you can see, are a little bit in that secondary level. It's very challenging, right? Kids have taken assessment for several years to motivate them. Monica and her team at middle school are doing things a little bit different this year of how kids maybe aren't just scheduled in the class, but we're pushing in, building relationships with kids that we don't get to see every day. And then I already talked about that high school team and all the hard work they do. But I will say this, we do really well in a lot of areas. If we curb that 7-8 high school, we will be one of the leaders in the state. So we got to figure out how to get there and continue to grow. Why does an ELPA score matter really in the scheme of things? It matters a lot of ways outside of supporting the student academically, social, emotionally. It also is part of our accountability system. So the ELPA scores, I tried to highlight for you kind of in the middle, it counts under the category in elementary and middle school for the growth of all students. So it's part of the scoring rubric used to determine your letter grade. The higher the percentage, the more points you get. So it is a really great opportunity for us, as we have quite a few students that speak another language, to only increase that. If we grow that area quickly, and you'll see probably, think about like Southside, intermediate, they have really solid scores within ELPA, and if we continue to grow at secondary as well, that's only going to increase the likelihood of maybe that we go from B's to A. On the counterpart to that, if you're not growing kids academically, it doesn't help you at all. So I did want to point out that it's also a part of the high schools, kind of the letter grade and the system used to determine those points, because it has value not just in itself of we're supporting kids, but it is how we're judged, right or wrong, when it comes to letter grades, whether you agree or disagree, at the end of the day, it's part of it. And so we've got to be able to tackle that. Do you guys have any questions about our program?
I guess the percentage, the scoring, is that just by when we graduate kids out of that, or
Yeah.
is that the only way we grade?
That's it.
Okay.
So a student takes the assessment and not the screener. Unfortunately, that doesn't get to count for our percentage points, but the kid at the end of the year, when the ELPA window opens, if they are proficient, then they just measure those, how many kids tested out and how many kids didn't. And that's where we garner our percentage.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I would like to let the board know that when Josh came on board and Amy and I had conversations with Josh about our vision of what we wanted our ESOL program to look like, is we felt like we were more focused on compliance in our ESOL to make sure everybody had the right paperwork, everybody was coded correctly. We need to grow students. Like we've got to do whatever it takes to grow students, because that's really what it matters. The compliance part is important. We have to do that by law, but it's more important for us to grow students. And Josh taking that initiative over the last year and a half, we're and pushing that into the buildings. That's why we're seeing some of this stuff change. And I would predict we come back here this time next year, we're going to see even greater gains based on the things we learned last year that we've already changed for this year. So, and the other thing is pushing to exit students when they're ready. Like, get them out of the program. Don't just let them stay around. So one of the techniques that are super important for those older is actually meeting with those students before they take that ELPA exam. And it's like, hey, I know you're tired of taking this test because you've taken it for 8 years in a row and you don't see an end in sight. But if you go in there and bust your tail and do the best you can, you might not have to take it again. And so having those conversations and all that, little things we're doing to get kids out of those programs, that's super important. So I appreciate not just what Josh and his ESL team is doing, but also our principals taking a hold and going on. And then our staff jumping in across the district, because everybody's an ESL teacher, because every person in our district has an ESL student in their class. And so we all have to take that on that role, and they're doing a really good job, and I'm proud of them.
Yeah, well, thanks. So one thing I will add real quick, when a student does pass the ELPA 21, Kelly Meeker has done a fantastic job with growing our SEAL by literacy, which helps our merit and distinction. And so they can use that ELPA 21 assessment as counting for their proficient in English. So now all they have to do is pass a proficiency test in whatever their home language is. And that's just another way to help grow that. So
Interesting. Yeah, thank you for that.
thank you.
Josh?
Yeah.
Good evening. I'm going to share a really brief report on an opportunity that we had to write a grant that would allow us to enhance our already existing school-based clinic. In January of this year, DESE announced the availability of grant funds for schools to either establish, expand, or enhance school-based health clinic services. If chosen, grantees would be eligible to receive a distribution of funds over a 3-year period, with those funds decreasing each subsequent year. Since we already had a really well-established school-based health clinic, we decided that we wanted to write the grant to try to enhance our mental health services to our students. So through a collaborative effort with Ms. Tiffany Hansen, our school-based health clinic director, Angela Brown, our current mental health therapist, Dr. McClung, and myself, we were able to complete and submit the grant proposal to add an additional mental health therapist. So we were notified in April that we made the final round, and that final round included a site visit. So we had a team of individuals from the district and people from the State Department who came to discuss our plans to Panther Health and Wellness Clinic. And then our team answered a ton of questions about what we would do moving forward if we were to be selected for the grant. And I'm happy to report in May that we were notified that we had been awarded the grant. So we were very fortunate to find the mental health therapist we were looking for. We were able to hire a gentleman named Ray Carson. He joined our team. He came to us with not only a wealth of knowledge and experience, but he had been a school-based mental health therapist before, actually in our schools. He had served our school with ERISA, and so he knew families, he knew students, and he was very familiar with schools, so he was able to hit the ground running. I can't say enough about that team. Tiffany Hansen does an amazing job. Both Angela Brown and Ray Carson are serving as many students as they possibly can squeeze into a day and have full or almost full caseloads. So we are very, very proud, very fortunate that we received that grant, and we are grateful that we're able to serve more students in that capacity. Would you have any questions for me tonight?
What's the amount of the grant?
$150,000 for the first year. And then I think it decreases, Dr. McClung may tell me, I think it's like 85 or 75 the next year until we.
I think it's 150, 175. I think the total was $325,000 over those 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. The thing is that it fully covers adding that salary and among other things. And the hope is that down the road that we can be self-sustaining based on being able to bill for services for people who have the ability to bill their insurance, Medicaid, that kind of stuff.
And both of those individuals have the ability, both of those therapists have the ability or the credentials to be able to bill. So it's that piece is only complicated by the state because the state has just allowed for schools to enter into that. So we're kind of working through that piece to figure out how can we really get started in that billing process. But that is definitely something that they are willing to do. We already have the number, our Medicaid number and other numbers, so we can bill. We're just waiting to kind of work those pieces out.
Great. Nice. Well, thanks to everyone who was involved in that process.
Certainly. Thank you.
All right, Amy.
I can say your name now? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, fun reports, great celebrations tonight. So, absenteeism, we've talked about this every year. See Mr. Lamb giggle over there? Yes, it is a yearly thing. We're coming to the close of our first quarter, so we wanted to come and bring this to everyone's attention and see where we are at the moment after the first quarter. I know that Mr. Patrick shared with you a data piece from OEP, Office of Education Policy, that the U of A does. And within that, it talks about chronically absent students. And so when the state discusses chronically absent, that's kiddos that are in that range of 15 days or more of being absent. So because we're only in the first quarter, we're only looking at smaller numbers because we're only roughly a fourth of the way through where we need to be. So in the document that Mr. Patrick shared, he shared this. This is our state graph where it shows Arkansas as a whole in the attendance. You will see that the different shades of green, the dark green is the post-pandemic. And you can look at the lines just across there, even though you might not can read the numbers, you can see the lines of the dark green are significantly higher than in pre-pandemic or even during the pandemic years.
So for clarification, board, I only printed you the one that's just our district's data. This is overall state data, if I'm
Yes, it is
correct.
overall state data.
And I heard you right that the darker green was post-pandemic.
It's current. That's post-pandemic, yes. So you can see a jump in every grade level. It doesn't really matter which grade level that you're looking across. So that's just as a whole. So now I'm going to take us to where are we in Siloam Springs currently. So chronic absenteeism, we're only about a quarter of the way through. So we're looking at students that have missed 4 days or more to this point, and that's what you'll see in that second column there. That's the number of students, and then you'll see the 10% plus column. That's what the state measures by, and so that is our percent. The next one is students that have 2 or 3 absences already, and theirs percent falls in that 5 to 9% of the school time that they're missing. You will see our numbers are significant. Those columns represent different kids. So the 69 over here in kindergarten and the 76 over here that have missed 2 and 3 days, those are separate groups of kids. So that's, 145? Just in kindergarten. So when we look through here, and I'm not picking on kindergarten because you can see it's all the same across there. When we go to the higher grades, you'll notice even more so. So again, students with 4 or more absences, and then our students that already have 2 or 3 absences. Now we know kids get sick. We know that they get the flu or get a stomach bug or whatever, but the state doesn't really care what they're missing school for. They just count it as a day of missed school. So again, when you look through here, yes, we have some significant numbers looking across here, but we're being very transparent, and this is where we are, and we need our kiddos to want to come to school. We need our parents to help get those kiddos to school, and our principals and teachers are working hard to get them here. So we just need to continue building and working on attendance.
So the data that's up here on the board is the current year's data. The sheet I gave you was the last 2 years' data that was collected from the Office of Education Policy at the University of Arkansas. And so if you, just for our public, last year, overall in our district, 33% of our students were chronically absent, which means they had more than 15 absences in the school year. We had some grades that 50% of our students missed 15% or more. And so I want to, as superintendent, I want to encourage our parents that, as Ms. Carter said, we know kids get sick, and we know there are things about it. We can't teach them if they're not in school. We have to have them here, and it's so important. And I want you to, the board, this breaks this down by district, but it also gives our co-op and then the state rates. And if you look across there, we are far and above the worst in our co-op. So I went and found the data, and we finished dead last in this category as far as attendance goes in Northwest Arkansas Co-op. We are far behind everybody else, and we cannot teach these young people if they're not in school. So every day matters, and it's important that our parents know this, that we want them there, and I told our team this, we can't say this is an everywhere problem because we're worse than everybody else. This is an us problem. So we can blame it on parents and blame it on all these other factors, but we have to come up with a way to make kids want to come to school and make parents want to send them to school. So this is a group effort to try to encourage people to get their children to school every day, because there's not a single day that learning is not going on, and we have to have them here. So I would implore with our parents to please make sure your children get to school, and also that does not mean that we want them coming to school throwing up, sick, that kind of stuff. But there is a difference, and so it's important that I think we bring this out in the open and let people know that we have our issues, and this is one of them, and we need to work on it. And we are going to take that challenge as a district and work to try to improve it. But we had to have our help of our constituents and our patrons and parents to make sure that they help us get them here.
I appreciate your focus on this, and Amy, thank you, and Shane, thank you. I mean, I remember this same report this time last year, and I think I remember it from 2 years ago, and I'm just very sad about the trend. It seems like we're trending, we're not trending better. I feel like we're kind of still losing ground rather than gaining ground, and I don't really have an answer for it. I guess I'm wondering, I feel like there's been an effort to use honey as a attractant over the past couple of years, and that whole honey vinegar.
Right.
How do you motivate somebody? And I don't know the answer, but I guess I'm willing to consider any solution that you have, whether that's a board level kind of policy decision that enforces what we all want, or I don't know. I'm just kind of open to discussion. It sounds like Marianne wants to say something.
I do want to say something, because, we struggle with this as well. And then we went to a 4-day week. It got a little better, but it's not as better as you think it would be, especially even with our staff. So we really try to encourage everyone. We're off on Mondays. Go get your doctor's appointments, do those things on Mondays, whatever, and let's protect those other 4 days. And we've had that argument with our State Department, our Secretary of Ed, even our governor to a point, and all, but we still struggle. We're maybe, I guess I didn't realize you were last. I thought I was pretty low as well, just saying, for Lincoln. I'll just say that out loud. But we're not great either. What I think, and what we've talked about in our district is, or that other district I work with, I should say. I guess I have 2 districts. Anyway, it's all good. That let's find out the ones that are doing really well, that aren't at the bottom, they're more at the top throughout our state, throughout our co-op even, because our co-op's the best, just saying. But anyway, we're in the same co-op. But let's find out what they're doing. What are they doing? Like you said, honey, are they giving incentives to be there or whatever? We try to tell ours, hey, if y'all can't get to school, teachers and students, then we'll just have to go back to 5 days. Because, if I'm still paying sub fees and all the things, and that's not all the things that we argued would improve because we were 4 versus 5. And I'm not advocating 4 versus 5 for any other district, et cetera. It's what's working in my district that's writing me a paycheck, but may not work in a district that maybe I'm just on the board and et cetera. Anyway, I say a lot to say that I think a thing we can do as districts, any district in our state, is look to the ones that are doing really well with this, and what are they doing? And I'm in the same boat. What are the ones that are not at the bottom of their co-op or the bottom of the state? What's going on there that they're getting their kids, their teachers to school, and can we replicate that? That's all I've got. That's all I have. Thank you. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I say one more thing? I appreciate Amy, you and Shane both. I appreciate people who give, they assume the best about somebody, and the comments about, well, kids are sick, and, we don't want kids to come to school sick, or doctor's appointments. I'm going to venture to guess that Siloam doesn't have some kind of weird super high kids getting sick ratio compared to our neighboring cities. So, and doctor's appointments, I'm going to guess we go to the doctor about the same as everyone else does. So there's something more than that. Because we could say, well, it's not the number we want it to be, but I think the more relevant number is, what do we compare to our neighbors in the co-op and then the state? So I appreciate you giving the benefit of the doubt in that, but I would also say let's look to maybe there's some other low-hanging fruit there, some habits that could be encouraged. But anyways, well, I wish we had something more concrete to say that was going to happen. Is there any ideas or any thoughts that we have? This is putting you on the spot a little bit, but any ideas for how to solve this? Or
We literally talked about that this week in the principal meeting.
Okay.
So we're trying to come up with those ideas, kind of like Marianne said. And with the change, if we change and if we reconfigure schools, not that that's going to help, but we're going to have to relook at several policies. And so we do have some potential, but that doesn't fix it. Like, what are the positive sides? What are the others that do have a better attendance rate? What are they actually doing? How are they getting their kids here?
So if you look, and I'll throw this out there, there are some districts, and it would be a board decision, it would change our policy. But there are some districts, if kids don't meet attendance criteria for the older kids, then they don't get credit. They lose their credit. And that's something that this district has historically not chosen to do, at least in recent history. I'm not sure about long history, but in recent history, that's something we've chosen not to do. And that may be something we have to look at doing. There's some downsides to that too, because we are rated on our graduation rate, and you start holding credit and there's not a 5-year graduation rate anymore. It's just the 4-year graduation rate. So there's a lot of things to think through. But there are districts in Northwest Arkansas that are currently doing that. And those are some of the districts that their data is better than ours is when it comes to attendance.
And I'm also aware of, just a little bit, I do want to do more research, but I'm aware that some schools do, or districts do, some kind of incentive thing for teachers, like they get in a gift card if they don't miss so many days or whatever. That gets a little contentious. Also with students, especially your upper level, the kids that might need a gas card or something, give away, do some things, get some donations, et cetera, or something to that effect. I have heard some of those things to go on in some of the districts that maybe do better than we do. But anyway, just food for thought.
And really, the consequence you're talking about, Shane, we would really have to bet on that consequence threat is worth enough to because really, we wouldn't want to have the consequence and then have the same amount of absenteeism and kids not graduating. Right. We would want to see that threat alone.
So, and I will tell you, and this is, I don't have a problem saying it because I've already said it out loud at several years when I used to be the person that go and met with our juvenile judge. In Washington County, the juvenile judge, I think she actually is retiring or just has retired.
Pretty much.
But she would hold kids accountable for absenteeism. Our juvenile judge, that is not a priority in Benton County to deal with absenteeism in students. And although we do have some kids that they do that they will see and they will deal with, the vast majority of them they won't. And that was the one deterrent that also works in other districts, because if they miss so many days, they just sent the fins in to the judge. So we don't really have that resource in Benton County. But when I say that, we're still not doing as well as some of those other schools that are in Benton County, all those other schools in Benton County. So that's not the only reason and all. But there's a lot of things we need to look at. We talk about teacher engagement, like making sure there is a connection with every student has a connection with an adult in every building that they want to come see. We talked about having special food days that would encourage kids, hey, I want to make sure I'm at school on Wednesday because we're having whatever they're having in the cafeteria. So there are things that we're looking at and trying to do, but it's a team effort between us and our parents. We have to work together to do it, and we have our part. So I don't want any of our parents to think that this is just on parents. We have our part to do too, but we will have to have the help of our parents as we work together, if that makes sense.
Let me follow up a question on that. Are there any schools that we're comparing ourselves in our co-op to that have the amount of school transitions which this is bleeding a little bit over into a conversation later. Do any of those schools we compare to have
There's nobody in our co-op that has this many transitions.
Okay. Because that is really what I was thinking when you were talking about building, relationship with teachers and having kids have teachers that they want to see and don't want to be absent because they feel like they're a friend or okay. Interesting. I'll have to make an addition to my comment for later. No, I'm joking.
Mr. Lamb, do you have any comments on that? Mr. Nance?
I do, but I'll save mine for the other discussion. Because,
okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Nance?
I'll make a comment.
Okay, go for it.
That, I've sat on the board a long time, and this has been a problem a long time. And it's very frustrating. And I get frustrated every time I see these numbers because I can't comprehend why you let your students not go to school. I'll just say it like it is.
And you're talking about parents, not
I'm talking
or
households,
whatever.
Whatever it is.
Right.
That my kids, they had perfect attendance. And I'm not bragging at all, but they went to school. When it's school day, it's school day. And I just really get frustrated because the comments are, we can't teach kids if they're not here. Mm-hmm. So that affects everything throughout their whole career. And I just can't comprehend it. And I get frustrated thinking about it. And I'll help and do anything I can. If we need a task force or something to work on this, I'll be glad to help in any way I can to improve these numbers.
And we used to just give like a certificate because I got a few of those in my day as a student for perfect attendance.
Yeah, that's right.
We don't hardly even have one or two handful of kids in our district. And we're small. We're about a fourth of the size of this one. That would qualify and get that. So we kind of got away from giving out we might acknowledge them in an assembly or something, but not making a big deal out of it because it's maybe a handful of kids, K-12, in my small district here, maybe a few more, but not a lot more, obviously. So that's that. I don't know.
I won't say a whole lot because I would just be reiterating what has already been said, but I will say, like Brian already mentioned, is, we hear this report every year, but I want to say thank you for bringing a little bit more openness and transparency to it, because I haven't heard that in the past. And to me, it's one of my favorite quotes is, when you confront a problem, you've just taken the first step to solve it. So we're acknowledging that this is a problem. And again, I'm reiterating a lot of what's been said already. I appreciate the district taking some responsibility, but I tend to lean a little bit more like Mr. Lamb does, is parents, it takes a village to raise kids, and if they're not here, we can't improve that. So parents have got to help as well. They just have to. And I did think of Dr. Miller's initiative. Was it last year when you did the big attendance, push? It was great, but it wasn't sustaining. So, I'm glad that we're looking at options. I'm glad we're having the conversation, and I want all of you to know I appreciate that, because the openness about it, I think is beneficial, and it's good.
Are we ready for a better, not better, a more exciting presentation?
Yes, you did great at that presentation.
You did.
Okay, so the next, I want to really say this is preliminary data. I have already had text messages asking me where I've received the data already when others had not. So, because we were quick on the draw Saturday and Sunday in the Atlas portal, and the scores were up. They have been removed since then. So these are preliminary scores, and Miss Natalie back here, she sent the first text Saturday that started the whole snowball effect. And I'm going to give you kudos for this too. Are you ready for it? So she sends me a text earlier today, and she goes, okay, just so you know, we're leading the state in testlets. It's the little tests that kids take along the way. How many have we done? 480 testlets. And in the state of Arkansas, there are 480 testlets given total.
In the state. Wow.
We have all of them. Yeah, we have every one of them. Yes, so yeah. That's really a good thing, though, because they've been on that. Like, they wanted to see what that is. And it also, not that you understand all this, but it does open a student's IRP, their individual reading plan, by giving a testlet. So now she has all the testlets given. So now the IRP opened, and teachers will be able to see those and work on those even on tomorrow's workday, somewhat. So, okay, preliminary scores. Just remember that.
Got it.
Because yeah, and okay, so this is Northside. We give a math screener and we give an ELA screener. So you can see last year's score in math. We had 67% ready coming in. So these are kindergartners, so coming to us. And then this year we had 62% ready, already coming to us with a little bit of math knowledge. I mean, we're in kindergarten, so it's not like it's algebra. Okay, so then we have the ELA screener. And last year we had 37% ready. And according to our Saturday, Sunday snooping, we have 61% ready. Now, you can see I put the state down there for last year's. We weren't quite quick enough and didn't snap enough pictures of the screen to be able to get what the state is at this point. So it's preliminary. Okay, so Alan. Looks really good. Again, first and second grade are both going to take the assessment, and then always compared to the state when we can. You can see that we have growth across many of all of those. You could highlight second grade ELA. Last year, they were 19% ready. Now they are 60% ready. So you can go down to first grade as well, 37% ready. This year we have 49% of the students ready. Math the same way, 56 to a 60, 76 to a 74. That's not, it's just right there, neck and neck on that one. So a lot to celebrate here, even compared to the state when you look through there. We don't necessarily beat them on everything, but we are at least right there with what was considered the state average
for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Right.
Okay, third grade. So third grade takes an ELA screener. They do not take math in third grade in this regard. So last year's kids were 76% ready, and this year we have 72% ready. That's still a good balance of our kids coming into the grade level ready for standards that address third grade. And again, we are ahead of the state there, as long as these preliminary scores are close to accurate. So then, Mr. Killian, we had a conversation and he did cohort data for you in a presentation maybe last month. And so we pulled this so you could see it. The other was just grade level to grade level, last year's kindergartners and this year's kindergartners. So now this is going to show last year's kindergartens and what are they doing now as a first grader. So, or a first grader and how they are performing now. So when they left kindergarten 67% ready, they came into first grade at 60% ready. So again, that's not wonderful. You look at that, but it is a good balance there in math and in ELA. when we look at our second graders now, last year as first graders, look at that math, 56% ready. And now as second graders, they are 74% ready. So that's the same group of kids. And then ELA, look at the 37 to 60, the 37 to 49. And then we have to celebrate that third grade sitting there too, 19 to 72. So we've had some rock star teachers and administrators and kiddos because they've had to learn to maneuver the system. It's all electronic and there's lots of things. Think about a kindergartner. When you say mouse, they think of mouse running. It's not something. So they've learned how to use their Chromebook. They've learned how to do different things. So we hope to continue to see these preliminary scores or better. Questions?
That was wonderful. Good job. Love it. Even if it is preliminary.
It is preliminary.
I've been taking pictures with my phone of your screen.
Yeah. I can revert back if you want me to. Tell me which slide.
Do we know when it's going to be up for real then, if they took it down? Because, my elementary staff was with me at a conference in Utah, and we did not get in and look at it early, so we didn't get the snapshots.
By Monday mid-morning, maybe, 10 o'clock or so, it was off.
Okay.
Yes. We did a lot. I can't show this all to you because a lot of it has student data. We had an instructional coach that has, the minute I sent a text Saturday, I'm guessing she got in the portal. She has every kid listed. She has every one of their scores, who their teacher was, what percent, what they were at risk in, what they were ready in. Like, she has it laid out. She has about 9 tabs across the bottom of her worksheet that she created. So we had a lot of people that did hop in, and I just want to say we were proud Saturday when Natalie sent that text letting us all know it's in the portal, and we all hopped in there and started looking. So we're doing good things. Sometimes it just takes a little bit to get us there, but we're there.
Yeah, thank you, Amy.
Great job.
All right, Dr. McClung.
For tonight, I want to introduce Mike Spaeth of Build Architects and also Travis Pierce of C.R. Crawford. They're going to give you an update of the intermediate expansion, and then Mike is going to discuss with you the roofing project that's ongoing, currently intermediate, and will also include Allen and Southside.
Evening. How's everybody doing? Excellent. So it's good to be here, and I'm happy to present to you both updates with pictures for the intermediate edition and also some pictures of the re-roof for intermediate. So last month I left you, this was one of the slides that I left you with. This was slab prep, where they were preparing to pour the concrete. They were laying down the vapor barrier, the webbing, the form boards. About a week after last board meeting, they poured concrete. So I wasn't able to show you those photos at the time because they hadn't been poured, but at the end of September, they poured a slab. And you may be able to tell at the top of the picture, that's the east end of the site. They had all the CMU, which is just concrete masonry units, staged and ready for installation. And this picture was taken earlier this week. So now that we have a slab down, we can start going vertical. So that's definitely good. So the next step here, and they are pretty much topped off at the wall. They're finishing up the east wall, and all those little dark squares that you see along that south wall, those are bearing pockets. So the next step here would be roof structure. They can get the roof joists installed, they can get the roof decking installed, they can get the roof on. Now we're dried in, so now it's really time to see progress. So we're in a really good spot. I think the key was getting out of the ground and trying to stay dry as much as we can. But now that we've got the walls up, and I think all the roof structure, the joists and the decking is all on site, ready to be installed. If you haven't already started,
we got the joists laid in there today.
See what I'm saying? So it's fast.
Start going on first part next week.
Okay, so that's good. some other views of the work that was being done first part of this week. The gentleman on the bottom, one of them has a rubbing stone. It just rubs over the surface of the block as they prepare to put block filler on at some point in the future. And the other gentleman kind of looking at the camera, I think he had a tool that he was using just to, they brush the joints to smooth the joints out. So that's a good stage. With CMU wall erection, it just means that they're prepping the wall for the next steps. But they'll dry it in first, and then they'll start working on the interior. You've probably seen this, just a nice colorful barrier it just keeps the kids out of the construction area. Definitely appreciate that. So I'll turn it over to Travis if you want to talk a little bit about construction schedule. Then after that, we'll show you some pictures of the re-roof.
Like we said, we're starting the roof now, getting ready to dry in. We should have the roof and decking completed by the end of next week, and then we'll go into the roofing itself with the TPO roof with the installation. And then at the end of the month, we'll start our exterior with the brick veneer, and then our interior work as well, which will be the framing, MEPs in the wall, drywall, things of that nature, and start the completion of the interior side, and then the site work as well. We're getting ready for the roof canopy structure that's going to be in between the building and going into the existing school building there. Okay. And here towards the end of the year.
Yep. Yeah, contractually, I think we are looking at the very end of December. So good timing, Christmas break, give you, the district, an opportunity to move in, get situated, get the IT department, to get all the computers and phones all set up. So just, it's a good time to finish up this project. Are there any questions? Okay, now, re-roof. So I don't know how much I had shared with you the last time I had presented, but so the three different schools, intermediate, Allen, and Southside, the sizes, if you've ever been on the intermediate school, just the size of the roof, it's about 108,000 square feet. So these three combined, it's the largest re-roof project I've ever done in my career. So, but it was pretty interesting, and to see them up there rocking and rolling is something else. If you go out there, you'll see all of the material that's stored at the north end of Southside. This is for all three buildings, and there's a lot of material that's stored on the roof as well. The bottom picture, you'll see all the pallets, and that's all rigid polyiso insulation. Don't be concerned about the weight. It's very lightweight insulation. You can go up to it and just tip it. It's very lightweight. It gives them an opportunity to get material up there. They don't have to walk very far as they remove roof. They put new insulation and membrane down. They start from the ridge and they work their way down just so the new roof can flash over the old roof. I would say that as of the beginning of this week, there were probably 25% to 30% complete on the intermediate school. So they're moving when they can. Slow down a little bit with the rain that we had received recently over the last week or two, but otherwise they're rocking and rolling. They say that they'll do about 2,000 to 3,000 square feet a day, so which means the intermediate school should take about a month. And they had told me in advance of starting that they want to get the intermediate school about 75% complete. They're going to jump to Allen. And then Southside is only about 7,800 square feet, and I don't see that's going to take longer than a week. So, and I'm really glad that I found this picture, one of many that I've taken, but this is your old roof, and all those little curly hairs, those are actually cracks. And so that's hail impact. And so that is the problem that these roofs are having. And when Mr. Patrick first called me and told me about it, I made the comment, yeah, the roofer can just go up there and just find the isolated area and patch it. And he says, no, you don't understand. It's pretty widespread. And so that I went up there and I got on my hands and knees and I saw it. And then I stood back up and I looked and I realized it was everywhere. It was everywhere. So I couldn't believe it. So those represent hail impacts and compromised PVC membrane. But good news is that we are removing all of that and we're coming back with a TPO membrane. And so if you talk to the industry, the issue with PVC is just the plasticizers. That's part of an ingredient. And while that's introduced to a PVC material to make it more flexible over time, the plasticizers, as I understand it, tend to separate, and during cold weather, it makes the membrane brittle and it's vulnerable to impact. But TPO uses rubber. So, and you do have a lot of TPO roofs in your district that have withstood lots of hailstorms, and I haven't heard anything from Randall. So they've been able to take the brunt of hail, whereas the PVC roofs got compromised. Here's a view of, this is looking north on south side, lots of stacks of insulation. That gentleman right there is using a heat welder. That's what they use to weld the seams together. Are there any questions? I told you it would be more interesting.
Very much so.
Yes. Any questions at all?
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Well, I'll ask a quick one then. How do you, so they tear that off, and how does that work, the process?
They take the PVC and the existing insulation all the way, they take it off all the way down to the existing metal deck. They verified that the metal deck isn't also compromised. I have done re-roof projects where water has sat, and generally at locations where there are welds, sometimes rust will just start to grow, and you have to do something to fix that. But in this case, we haven't had that issue, not yet. But yes, they take everything down to the deck, and they take everything down that they feel they can cover back in one day, and they keep it on the forecast. Take everything down to the middle deck, they put the insulation back, and then they put down a 10-foot roll. Then they go 10 foot, 10 foot, 10 foot. So yes, because those rolls they're 10 foot wide.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Thanks, Travis.
All right, next up we have Todd Cross. He's going to give you a update for technology.
Good evening. We're going to talk a little bit about technology in our school district. We have 6 members of the technology department that support roughly 5,000 users. By every measure, we have the largest IT infrastructure in the city of Siloam Springs. Current budget for this year is $710,500. What that encompasses in a broad view is our servers, our cabling, our voice over IP, data storage, IT services for things that we can't perform ourselves or don't have time to perform because of our other duties. Chromebooks for our students, peripherals that connect to devices, virtualization, wireless, the software, the computers, the AV systems in the rooms like this one, video surveillance, switches, access control. Our network infrastructure consists of 141 network switches, 472 wireless access points, 621 voice over IP phones, 341 video surveillance cameras, 65 network servers. We have 300 terabyte network storage and 100 terabyte cloud storage for the district. When you get down to classrooms, it's pretty ubiquitous. A classroom here looks like a classroom at most public schools. You have projectors and TVs, you have dock cams, you have laptops, smart boards, iPads, Chromebooks, and those are the numbers associated. This year, because of Act 846, we have to implement a cybersecurity policy. Basically, everyone under the state of Arkansas governance has to comply with that. It's 3 phases. We have 3 years to get it done. It's the National Institute of Standards and Technology. It's a cybersecurity framework that I believe it's under the U.S. Department of Commerce. But that's what the state has decided that we need to follow. And so we're currently in phase 1, and most of these issues to be addressed in phase 1 have been addressed just as the normal practice of what we do in IT, the access control, the contingency planning, the identification and authentication, the incident response and system and information integrity. However, there were one of these that we were lacking, and it was awareness and training. And it just wasn't us that was lacking. I think as most school districts were lacking it. And so you have to provide training to your staff members in cybersecurity. And so there's a company out there called Fortinet, which provides the training for free for 3 years. And they have done that, I believe, nationwide. So I think most school districts in Arkansas have adopted that. It does require that every single staff member that has a account on our network complete the training. And so we've been working on that, and we've about got every single staff member trained. And that will be an annual process from here on out. That concludes my presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
When you say every single staff member that has a
login.
Login?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm curious, did we send that email to our board?
No, that is a good question.
It does include us,
He's
right?
not trained.
He's not trained.
We're not exempt. We're not exempt.
Ms. Spears
I do
is
know
probably
that.
trained. I mean, you're probably trained. I'm sure you did it in your school district. Yeah.
Somewhat, yeah.
So,
I
could use some
yeah.
We have a little test all the time that, you know.
Yeah, you probably do the
tests, et cetera.
phishing part of it
Yep.
to where if anybody,
The no before or the no whatever. There's
yeah,
some
and
kind
then
of-
it cycles you back through the training
Yep,
for
yep.
remediation.
Yep.
Yep.
I've had to do the training myself a couple times because I clicked on something.
Yeah. So,
I sense a email I'm going to be getting.
yeah, exactly. And luckily it's only going to take you about, I don't know, 12 minutes.
Question: how do we find a company how do they do the training free? Is this a nonprofit? What is the story here?
It's actually an IT services, nationwide IT services company, and they provide add-ons, like I think you're probably doing there with the phishing, and you can purchase add-ons if you want to purchase add-ons. And so, you know, like I said, this is new to everybody, and I guess they felt like, I don't know what their business plan is, but you know, you have 3 years for free, and so we're gonna take
Exactly,
it.
right.
Yeah.
First thing that hasn't cost any money that I've,
Yeah, for sure.
But it
All
will
right.
cost you
Thank
money
you.
at some point.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
the key.
thanks.
I believe that ends our reports for the evening.
All right.
All righty. Bambi, would you let the minutes show that we do have an established quorum, and we will move into action items.
I would recommend that the board approve as long as everybody's doesn't have any issues with the consent agenda. I would recommend that the board approve that. It includes the minutes of the board work session from September 2nd, 2025, minutes of the regular meeting from 2025, personnel transfers and personnel changes, student transfers, upholding the recommendation of Administrative Review Committee concerning October 2nd student discipline hearing of a 10th grade student, and I recommend that we approve.
I'll make a motion. We approve your consent agenda.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries. Financial statement.
Ms. Teresa, so Terry is out of town today, so we're going to have our district treasurer, Teresa Self, present the September 25 financials.
Hello. I'm going to go over the local revenue first, and it says that we're going to be expecting $2.6 million in October from our property taxes, and local revenue from this year it is $2 million, and last year it was right at 1.9, so we're very close to the same. In our operating fund expenditures down in maintenance, we have a negative, and that negative is showing because we received our insurance check prior to making our roof repairs caused by the hail damage. And then in November, we'll be paying our debt service interest. And that's all I have. Have any questions? I hope not.
You're ready for questions, aren't you? I can tell. We'll spare you. Thank you, Teresa.
You're so kind.
Thank you for filling in. We appreciate it for sure. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the September financial statement?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries. Equity assurances.
All right, I have a report. It's from a standpoint of the focus on this was the Arkansas Department of Education Silent Springs School District annual compliance for 25-26 school year. We were in compliance with the state's expectation, and we have a recommendation that you approve the compliance of the report.
I'll make a motion to approve the compliance.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, all opposed? Motion carries. All right, I'm going to call this meeting into executive session for the purpose of hiring and resignation. All right, I'm going to call this meeting back into open session. Mr. Patrick?
Yes, I would like to recommend the board accept the resignation of Chad Harp, intermediate school bridge classroom teacher.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I would like to recommend that the board hire Mark Giles, intermediate school special education bridge classroom teacher.
So moved.
Second? All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
At this time, I would like the board to recommend that the board approve the emergency sick leave and the additional 20 emergency day sick leave of said employee in your packet.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I think at this time there was, we have the upcoming School Board Association Conference, and I think the board was going to decide who was going to be the conference delegate for the delegate assembly.
Okay, I recommend Chris Horton. I believe he expressed interest. Can I do that?
second that.
Okay. You accept that, or how does that work? I volunteered, but then he said he wanted to do it, so, hey, right?
All right.
You good?
Good.
Is that all you need, or do you need a
I think
Motion,
that's all.
second.
Yeah, I don't think we have to have a vote.
we don't have to have a motion
Well,
to
you had
appoint?
one anyways.
Yeah.
All right, last thing on our agenda is we had a board member discussion of the neighborhood schools transition. And I want to express that I think it's super important that everybody is on the same page. And so our board has not had an opportunity to publicly address their thoughts on this. And so I thought this would be the time to do this at the board meeting. So Chris, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, so
No.
the board's going to just have a discussion about the neighborhood school transition. And I think each individual board member is going to speak to it, as far as I know. So we'll start down there with Mr. Lamb, and we'll just work our way.
I get to
up.
go first?
You get to go first.
I could have gone first, but you flipped you wanted to
right,
sit there,
that's
so
right.
there you go. That's all I
Well, this discussion's come up 2 or 3 times during my tenure. On one side, I kind of see it as, I hate to say it this way, but segregating the community, splitting. That's the benefit of all the classes being together, that there's not oh, you're at this school and you're at that school, that everybody's together. And that's the upside of that. But from all the data that we've been hearing for the last year and a half is that neighborhood schools are better for students to learn. And that's our job, is to help students to learn. So I'm not opposed to it and for it all the way, and hopefully we can progress and make it happen and see our test scores rise and students learn the way they should, and maybe attendance even get better. Wouldn't that be good? So that's all I have to say about it. So I'm in support of it.
So I am the new person here, and I'm going to be brutally honest that, I ran unopposed, so nobody ran against me, so there was never a debate. So this did not come up between the time I filed to run for this position and got elected May 13th, I believe. The only thing that I did do or was asked to do, I should say, was speak to the Women's Republican Committee at the Siloam Springs Library. Eric and his wife were there. I didn't know that I had met Eric as a board member maybe last December, just in passing probably at a conference, but didn't realize that was him and his wife in the back of the room. There were men and women there. There were mostly women, but there were some husbands there that were supporting their wives, etc. I also had kind of a strange call right before I went in there and was a little flustered, so I'm not sure how I did. But anyway, I know that this did not come up in a question. So no one said, hey, what do you think about neighborhood schools? Because you know what? I've lived here 4.5 years, and I did not realize until this kind of came up in the last few months that we had, or that I got on the board and realized that we had a pre-K, K, a 1-2, a 3-4, a 5-6, a 7-8, and then a beautiful high school. Oh, it's that way. Sorry. 9-12 high school right over there. I had no idea you had that many transitions. So that's just me. I come from a very small district. It's about 1/4, almost 1/4 exactly the size of this one. So this school district's 4 times bigger than the district that I get a paycheck from. Just saying, it's about 20 miles south of here. Anyway, but we have 1 elementary, we have 1 middle, and we have 1 high school. Well, that's 2 transitions right there, 2. All right. And you're trying to go to we're trying to go to 3, from 6 to 3. Am I right?
5 to 2.
5 to 2. 5 down to 2, which 2 is what I'm used to. And I get the neighborhood schools. I get that I'll just go with what I have here. My pros say this reduces transitions. We have too many now, and it will be better to have less transitions for the kids. Less, I know it's principals, you're going to move people around, whatever, but if they're transitioning every 2 years, they've got a brand new principal, they got a brand new vice principal, they got a brand new counselor, a brand new nurse. You know how many times the kids go to the nurse in, oh gosh, every grade. Even I was at high school today just wanting to get my blood pressure checked. I had to get in line because, there were high school kids in the nurse's office and some of them had legit ailments and some of them were just trying to get out of algebra. I don't know. Anyway, letter grades, that's a pro. Because right now, we just looked at letter grades or how they're configured. Well, in our configuration, it's pre-K through 3rd in elementary. So 3rd grade's really the only grade that's really counting in that grade for the most part. Our middle school is 4 through 8. So every grade tested in our middle school, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5 grades. High school's 9 through 12. We've got some indicators, lots of indicators there. We're all aware of that. She went over that very well. Anyway, so those are the pros. I get the cons and the concerns. I know parents and students, they're worried about which one of those neighborhood elementaries is my kid going to go to? Is it going to be a have versus have-nots? Where are these lines going to be drawn? And from my point of view, and just kind of being here only 4.5 years, but being in all parts of the town, I don't see there's a real line that, there's this community across this track or whatever, and that's where all the poverty kids live, or all the ESL kids that are maybe not going to score well, et cetera, to that effect. So I don't see that. I mean, y'all could prove me wrong. I've only been here 4.5 years in town, and I've only been on this board of about 3.5, 4 months. So I may need some schooling. And I also get concerns that possibly our teachers and our staff that are in those particular schools right now, they're probably worried about who's going to decide, or how will the district decide where I get to teach, or for support staff, you're going to move support staff around too, I'm assuming. We have to. Anyway, these are legit concerns. I agree. I get that. Those are legit concerns from parents, students, teachers, staff. But I trust that this admin team, most of you sitting out here, I think we've got every principal in the room, or typically we do, and assistants, directors, our HR guy, our transportation guy's right over there. That's going to change transportation, probably for the better. And a lot of negatives I hear about all these schools and the patterns and all the things is transportation. Getting it right? Am I right? Okay, he's agreeing with me. Good. I'm spitballing here, whatever. Anyway, that's really all I've got to say. I am absolutely, because I didn't know you had this many transitions to begin with, I'm absolutely in favor of reducing the transition. I think it will be good for kids. And I think as we sit here as a board, and we sit here as an administrative team in the audience mostly, that's what we're here for. We're here with what's best for kids. We have to sometimes make hard decisions. I believe you mentioned that at one meeting that I missed, but I watched it on Zoom, that sometimes we have to sit up here and make hard decisions that affect adults and affect kids. But I think if we keep in mind that the kids come first, that we're going to be okay. And I think our community will be okay if we totally concentrate. And I've talked way too long, and I'm sorry if I stole any of y'all's thunder, but that's how I stand. I firmly, absolutely am in favor of the neighborhood school plan that your superintendent and your staff is putting together for us. And I'll stop there. Sorry.
I agree with what they said. No, I'm a 2008 graduate of Siloam. I have kids in the district, and juggling back and forth, even with when I was in school, there were 3 transitions back then. Yeah, 3. But adding all this to once my oldest gets in high school, and I've got a 2-year-old now. I mean, it was a nightmare just going from north side to making it to south side, and that was Logan, my oldest. It's always been a nightmare. Barnett's at one point wouldn't let people park over there, and that was like an ending of picking him up. Like that was almost time for him to go to the bus. But I don't see how this could go, awry. I know there's cons to it, but the pros outweigh it tenfold. So, like I said, I agree with what they said, and I'm passing it on.
Well, I also made a pro cons list, like every good man. I don't know if that's a guy thing or what, but you made it too. Yeah, that's true. I made it a pro cons, and then I said, no, I don't want a pro con. I want a pro cost. So the cost of neighborhood schools is building changes or additions is 1. 2 is boundary lines that split students up from their friends. Need to acknowledge that. And then building changes for staff. So those are all costs. However, the pros for this are fewer transitions for kids. I don't think I have to go in any more detail to that. I also am a father, have 4 kids, and yeah, we've had years where we're going to 3 schools, and that's very, very tough for picking up. But it's not just about, the convenience in the pickup and the drop off. I think especially what we talked about tonight with absenteeism, and look, that directly affects scores, and all of that's, I think going to be influenced by all these transitions that kids are doing. So I'm a believer in that. I think that's probably the main, if I was going to put a stake in the ground, a flag in the ground, that would be the number one thing. And then there's some other convenience, a small school feel with students in the building longer. So I kind of like that idea, a little bit more tighter culture. I think Dr. Miller benefits from that the most, in that she's known my 2 kids who are not 3 now, who are in high school, but she's known my senior for 4 years now, and my son, unfortunately, for 3 years. So great for my daughter to know you so long. My son, no, I'm kidding. Great son, great boy, if he's watching tonight. But, and then I had one more, and this is more of I'm going to call it a perceived or a potential downside. And this is the thing, both Brian and Marianne referenced, is the haves and the have-nots. So I'll just read this because I've heard this mentioned a few times, and I want to acknowledge it, but also give some comfort in what my goal will be in the part I play in this. So, I've heard the concern of one school being the haves, the other school being the have-nots. I commit to listening to our experts and using discernment and how boundary lines are drawn by looking at factors such as community layout, demographics, future growth, and many other things. I'm comforted by the fact that our city does not have a good side of town or a bad side of town. Siloam is unique in that way. I'm also not fearful of healthy and productive competition. I believe competition drives duplication of best practices and encourages creativity. I look at some of the schools in our neighboring town, some of our neighbors, and I would say that we have emulated some things to get better, and they have emulated some things from us. So I kind of like that dynamic. And I think that would be the case. I think we have the kind of culture and quality people that would emulate that. When I hear people talk about making a school change, they bring up things like culture, excellent staff, extracurriculars, student equipping potential, and a great learning environment. So the key is to provide each school with the resources it needs to achieve the academic performance that meets our goals. And I fully trust in our staff to maximize and allocate the resources that we have to provide the highest quality outcome for our students and their parents. That's it.
All right. Well, I wanted to start with Brian because I knew that he remembered when it was just a one schoolroom house, you know, just one transition.
Yeah, there you go, Brian.
Brian knows.
Uphill both ways.
Yeah, barefooted. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. We're good, right, Brian? Yeah, we're good. I know that data has been talked about, and I've had a little bit of feedback from parents mainly, but some say they haven't heard the data, so I will repeat it for just a few. Going from the University of Arkansas, talking about building transitions leading to lower growth, to the International Journal of STEM. They published an article about transitions and the negative effects it has on kids. Grade space configuration. There's multiple out there of data that suggests that the more transitions you have, it's just academically not good for kids. Not only that, what I take more stock in, and looking at this from 4 years now, is our own testing data. Shows that every second year transition, I see it on the screen in our paperwork, that testing goes down every time. I had 2 girls that went through this school system, graduated from here. We didn't have an issue with that. But again, data, it just proves itself over and over again that this is not the best for kids. And if we have an opportunity to be better, that's what we want, right? So not only data, but then I like to look at things practically as well. So other than data, practically, how does this benefit us? Well, there's a greater convenience for parents. I think Eric, and actually several of you may have already mentioned this, that have multiple children, because it's less travel time, and that actually equals less traffic congestion. And we all know how much we hear about that all the time, especially just down here north. It's terrible. So that's a benefit. Parents tend to get more involved when connections are made through longevity. That's natural even in adult life. Staffing, transportation. I know some of this has been mentioned again. Special ed, all these benefit from fewer transitions. And then our kids, which are what we are concerned about the most. Transition year shows higher rates of discipline issues, emotional concerns like anxiety, friendship groups become more challenging. So Mr. Nance said this, and I wrote it down myself. For me, the benefits so far outweigh any negatives, and it seems as though we have all heard similar negatives. And so I will reiterate the fact that I will personally commit to assuring that the attitude of have and have nots won't exist. We will take every precaution. We'll be as proactive as possible. You know, I had my youngest, most of you in here know, is considered medically fragile. And every 2 years she had to have a new nurse. We had no bad experiences. They were all wonderful. But as you all know, especially a kindergartner, you know, that needs multiple injections a day. And then even as a second grader, now she's got to learn somebody new. And when you got somebody new coming at you with a needle, it's just not fun. So, you know, there's just so many aspects of it that it just makes sense that, you know, we've grown, the town's grown, and we have to grow with it. And with those growth, just like when we were 11, 12, we grow, there's pains that come with it. That's just part of life. But when we're finished, we're hopefully a more mature, grown individual. And that's what we want here too as well, is we want the growth. There'll be some growing pains, but when we get through it, we'll be better. And that's what we want. And so I completely agree. I mentioned this a couple months ago, that we all have the same goal. We want the absolute best. I already feel like we have the best. I feel like Siloam's the best. I mean, a panther can eat a wolf any day, right?
Pick on the wolves.
I'm on a roll tonight.
All good.
So I better wrap it up.
Are the same colors,
but I do say that to say that I am in favor of the neighborhood schools. But I also say that to say I appreciate Shane. I appreciate Paige. Everybody who's had a part. Today, just for the sake of it, I wanted to go on our website just to see, okay, how easy is it to get involved in this conversation? Man, in 30 seconds, I could see school board meetings. I could see data specifically in regard to neighborhood schools, why, the pros, the cons. I did it very quick. So for the public out there, you can do the same. Go to our website. Paige has done a great job of making a link very easy. And we truly, I don't want there to be this thought out there that we've already made the decision, so what's the point of, that's a false narrative that's not true. Okay, we want people's feedback. We consider it, we value it, and as you can tell from the comments, we take it to heart. And so I guess that's my summary.
Well, I appreciate the board, and I appreciate all of the work that they do. I'll remind our public, these are volunteers that spend a lot of time working for the best interest of our school district, and they have a heart for it. They don't get paid anything. They spend way more hours than they ever probably thought they would spend doing school board stuff. And I really appreciate them. And I do want to reiterate one thing that Chris ended with. We do want feedback. Feedback matters. Just because something's the right thing to do doesn't mean we know exactly the best way to go about doing it. And so once we make the decision that this is what we're going to do, we need to make sure we do it the best way possible. And the only way we can do that is if we're all come together. And there'll be some bumps in the road, and there'll be some things that might not go exactly right, but we will quickly address them and move forward. We're building the plane as we're flying it, because this isn't done every day anymore. It's been years around the state since, if there was ever that many schools that were set up like we are, moving to this configuration. So I hope, I'll leave this last thing. I hope if you haven't had a chance to meet with myself or Ms. Carter or several of our directors are there, we will be at parent-teacher conferences next week at elementaries, at every single parent-teacher conference, both nights, and we would love for our public to come out and join into this conversation. We cannot do it alone. So, thank you.
All right. I will, before I entertain a motion to adjourn, we want to say happy birthday to Dixie. I know maybe she's listening. I don't know. Maybe she's already in bed. She had a long day. But regardless, maybe she'll see it tomorrow. Dixie takes care of all of us, right? She just does so much. So we just wanted to say happy birthday to Dixie as well from the school board too. All right, now I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All right, all in